Welcome back to Life After Sunday.
Oh,
if you're listening on YouTube, take a second, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our content. Head over to Apple, Spotify, leave us a review so we can work with the algorithm.
What about Rumble?
Rumble.
Are we on
Go Rumble too. Yeah, we're on Rumble.
All right, Rumble. Let's
Don't
go,
forget
baby.
Rumble. Shout out Rumble. We got a jam-packed show for you today. The dock worker strike. Is the Iron Dome failing? Mike has a great answer on that. We're going to talk about a question that was asked in Eric's church this morning. We're going to talk about our faith having no feelings. And last but not least, Upset Saturday.
Let's freaking go.
Hogs down, a number 5 team in the country.
Woo, baby.
Let's go. First up, from our lead reporter on the story, Mr. Eric Duval. Sir,
Man,
give us your insight on what's happening on the East Coast, baby.
All the interviews you did up there. You drove to the East Coast and did interviews.
I'm telling you, I had the Life After Sunday news van truck packed.
Did you get it wrapped before you left?
I got that schedule, but this happened, but news breaks when it breaks, baby. Here at Life After Sunday, we're ready to roll and respond. So we're lucky this thing only lasted 3 days, or I'd have been up there in New Jersey standing on the picket line asking these fools some questions.
And
they ain't fools. They ain't all fools.
They'd have put you in a body bag.
They would have. Yeah, the mob would have got. But anyway, I just
were you actually like standing out there like they do in the hurricanes and like the wind's bashing them and they're blowing like sideways?
If y'all will pay for my per diem, make my per diem right, I'll go. This next hurricane, I'm headed that way, baby.
Sharman's going to sponsor us with all the.
If anybody out there listening wants to sponsor Eric Duval going to the next hurricane,
yes, I'll do it
for reporting.
Anyway,
send us an email.
I got to ask, fellas. You got toilet paper? Everybody good?
I did. I panic bought loads of toilet paper because that's more important than food in a crisis.
We were in the Bourne Studios, and if you look right over there, you will see. There's my Sam stash of toilet paper in my garage.
And in all seriousness, you can be noble and say you're not going to panic buy and make fun of everybody who does. But when the stuff hits the fan, you're going to be the one without toilet paper.
It's a fact.
So you can be noble, but you need to go buy the stuff. And the key is you have to be ahead of the sheep, because once the sheep show up to Walmart, you're done. You're not getting whatever it is. So when you see this stuff kind of starting to happen, go ahead and grab your water, your toilet paper ahead of time.
Well, I tell you, right now, I won't announce to the thousands of listeners here just how many or what the actual numbers are in the Duval Strategic Toilet Paper Pea Ridge stockpile, but we're good, and we are selling Charmin Red Label. The good stuff.
Now, did you draw it down like Biden has done our oil reserve down to practically empty?
That is outstanding, dude.
While we're on the eve of a major Middle East war and our reserves are empty?
Good point. No, we kept ours up there.
So you actually stock yours up. Okay.
Yeah, we actually, and then Mrs. Duval helps, she makes sure that Walmart is thoroughly drained of all their toilet paper.
Well,
so
good job.
She came home today. I think that the whole back of that RAV4 was full. That Charmin Red Label, baby.
Good.
I messed up 2 weeks ago and bought Blue Label and almost got divorced.
That's like the stuff you wipe your butt with in school.
It's Charmin. But there's a difference in blue and red labels. We're going down rabbit holes. Anyway,
it's like rough, tough, and won't take no crap off nobody.
Yeah, there you go.
Clint Eastwood toilet paper.
No, so like most of you out there, I didn't. You don't follow this kind of stuff until something big happens. And we don't realize, just how much stuff we get and where it comes from and how we get it. So this could have been a really, really, really big deal at a terrible time with all this other crap going on in the country. This could have been a really big deal. It turned out it only lasted 3 days, so I'm going to shorten up, kind of what happened, just kind of blow your mind with some numbers here. But, everything we get nowadays pretty much comes from somewhere else.
That's a fact.
It's shipped in from somewhere else, and it hits these major ports around the country. And these dudes that work there, they're part of the International Longshoremen Association. They're the guys responsible for loading and unloading these things.
Union.
It's a union. Yeah, it's a union. And they were currently in negotiation. They're 45,000 members, 45,000
nationwide.
Yeah, nationwide. And they were in negotiations with the U.S. Maritime Alliance. I think they represent all the companies, the shipping companies and things. So the initial offer, I think, that was on the table was for a 50% pay raise over 50. The course of the contract. That's not like just right up front, but over the course of the contract, which I believe was going to be 6 years, 50% pay raise. So let's wrap your head around that. Whatever you do for a living, think about that percentage of a pay raise by itself. So that was rejected. Okay. But before we get into what they wound up with, let me just tell you what the pre-strike numbers were for these guys. So those 45,000 members, all right, their average salary, okay, just their base pay nationwide is about $81,000 a year, which is $39 an hour. Okay. But in 2023, the average pay for those dudes was about $155,000 between their overtime and their bonuses and their royalty fees, which that goes down a whole another rabbit hole. Anyway, so you had guys in New York and LA. If you just take those two, those guys were bringing home an average of $355,000 a year.
What? This is blue collar
before the strike.
Making more than
before. This is before and they turned down 50% on top of that. Okay.
Hey, if I was offered a 50% raise, I'm taking it on the spot, no questions asked. I'm back to work tomorrow.
To be transparent, before we get fact checked and kicked off YouTube and everything else, but that's not 50% just right up front. That's an increase
over 6 years.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. But okay, so the average in New York and LA was 350,000. Virginia was about 200,000. Savannah and South Carolina, 180 and 170 respectively. Excuse me. The new contract that was agreed to in just 3 days. That thing was negotiated in 3 days, which I saw it posted or saw it on the Fox Business article today that the most lucrative labor contract or labor strike ever.
Gosh.
Okay. They got a 62% pay raise over the course of the contract. 62%. Now, I was going to get into unions and all that, whether they're good, they're bad.
They started off good, but now they've turned bad.
Yeah. Oh, they're absolutely. If you do any research at all, and I can speak to this as being in the firefighters union, the IAFF for so long, they do not represent the interests of their members at all.
Themselves.
It's themselves. It's greed upon greed upon greed.
So
corruption.
I have a funny story about that. When I was on the Pasadena Union, when I first got on, I was the treasurer. And I started going through their books. And I looked at how many times they ate at this restaurant called Peppers. And they did it on our funds that we paid. And then they would go to this conference like up in Dallas and enjoy eating steaks, hanging out, all on our dues, which our dues were mainly for legal services if we get into a shooting or something like that. And they were eating on our dime. And that, as a young man, that was the first time I realized this is a joke.
And that's where I initially was going to go with this. But again, it got shortened to 3. And now it's going to come right back up in January. So look out for that. Hopefully Trump will be in office and we can shut some of this stuff down. But anyway, I got to give you some of these numbers here. So the head of this union.
What's that guy's name?
His name is Harold Daggett.
Okay.
So that's that jerk that was on TV.
Yeah. You have
with his Bentley and he's.
Yeah. This cat makes a base salary of $728K plus he gets another $173 a year from the ILA New Jersey arm of this union.
So the union's making him rich and his job's making him rich.
$928,000. Okay. So. Okay, so get this, all right?
You can't make this up,
This
boys.
cat, I just went online and typed in, his name and corruption because I'd heard there's something. Holy cow, at the article after article about this dude and corruption. He was actually on trial in 2005 for all kinds of charges being tied to the mob.
Yes.
And at some point, he got found not guilty. At some point during his trial, one of the dudes that was participating in the trial disappears. And gets found in a daggum trunk.
Yeah.
Later.
What?
This is straight
You
up
serious?
Yes. It's straight up mob stuff, dude.
And they put a mic in front of him.
Yeah.
And they don't say anything about what he gets paid, his troubled background.
Yes, and here's what he said. This guy goes on the news and he says, the first week it'll be all over the news, boom, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. He says they get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers he just goes on and on.
And he said it gleefully.
Yeah, this dude was being a total prick.
Yeah,
he was.
I mean, just
no
straight
doubt.
up. And so I said, okay, wait a minute. I bet you anything, just like in any union, firemen, police, there's probably some really salt of the earth, badass, hardworking dudes in that union. You know, I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there are.
So I got to looking overall, okay? And I came across ports across the world and how well they perform,
their efficiency,
how efficient they
trouble.
are. Again, this are other things we were going to talk about, like automation and things like that, which is amazing, but we're not going to get into that. So I believe it's called the Container Port Performance Index from the World Bank and the S&P Global Market Intelligence. They rank the ports, like 350 of them or something.
Is that worldwide?
Okay, yeah, worldwide. I think your top 5 were one in China, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Okay, the bottom 2 are in America. All of America's ports, all of them, are in the bottom half.
Yes,
of efficiency and performance worldwide.
And the union is terrified of automation.
Yes.
And if you want to know why Detroit is a ghost town, it's because the unions did the exact same thing to the automakers, where they were paying guys, let's just say $100,000 a year, and his job all day was to put a door on a car all day long. And so you want to know why my truck, your truck was made probably in Canada, mine was made in Mexico, my engine was made in Mexico. That's why, because they could not afford to operate American manufacturing with union labor restrictions and demands.
Well, I mean, and I'll kind of just close with this. I want to hear y'all's thoughts. So with all that, all those numbers, I know for guys living in Arkansas, you know, those numbers sound just mind-boggling. You know, I'm sure over there the cost of living and all that. There's all kinds of things we need to look into to get actual 100% true facts here. But how's that okay? I mean, for those guys to get that much money, even if cost of living and all that's high, and be non-efficient.
Yeah.
And when does it end? When is enough? When does a longshoreman go, you know what?
Never.
That's fair.
That's not in human nature.
When you have greed in play here, which it is in play, it's never enough. The money will never be enough, and they'll always want more. You give them the 67% or whatever. You get that, and in 6 years, they're going to want more. Here we are again, and it's never going to be enough. But like I'm like you, Eric. How can we justify even giving them the money if the production isn't there?
And where does that money come from? In an increase in the price of the shipping, which comes directly. We're the ones
consumer. We are
American consumer.
It just seems like just this topic alone, every door I opened, every article I clicked on, opened another door about how broken this whole thing is.
And you see why in each state has different union laws where they don't, some states you can literally force your employees to join the union. In other states is like I forget the term. I don't know if it's right to work, where you can choose not to join the union. I mean, even Starbucks is unionized.
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious? In some states, Starbucks.
And I can only speak for my experience, in the IFF. IFF's a group full of amazing firefighters, good dudes, family people, good ladies. And I remember my years in there, they would come out and endorse these candidates who go against everything in the world I believe in, but we were told by that union,
Yes.
This is strictly based off them supporting firefighter issues.
Yep.
And then you'll see them make these endorsements or post these comments on Facebook or these articles on Facebook about how they should vote this way. All your members, they're taking my money, should vote this way. And in every single freaking comment is, this is against my wishes. This is against, why are you doing this? This is not what I want. This is not, the members, they don't matter.
No.
It's the big dude, this Daggett dude at the top.
And then, and then they listen to him like sheep because he says all the things that they want to hear, and then the greed creeps in where it's like me, my family. They convince themselves,
Yep.
That I deserve this. I've been screwed over. I help America, and then they believe that, and then he gets up there and says all that. And he's going home to his, what do you have, a Bentley? And he had a mansion and just sold his yacht recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think back when labor unions first burst on, again, I don't want to go too far, but burst on the scene, they were needed.
They were needed because people were getting killed.
Yes. But I think
unsafe.
nowadays, in today's environment, you go into a job, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You sign up for it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be safe and all. We're not killing people in the industrial age trying to build dams and bridges and steel factories. We have safety stuff now, so they've turned into a money machine is what they've turned into.
That's right. And one last thing before I forget, and we'll move on to the next topic, and I encourage everybody to go open some of these doors, and you'll have your mind blown
yourself. And if
you'll
we're
have
wrong. Tell us.
But it says here that there's 350 ports worldwide, like I said, that are ranked here. They're the two in the U.S. that handle 40% of all the maritime imports into the United States were last and next to last.
Jeez.
In the entire world.
Yep.
That was Los Angeles and Long Beach.
And that's the lack of automation.
40% of all our maritime goods comes through those two ports right there.
See, and here's the frustrating thing that we can, before we move to the next topic, is the selfishness of the people working there now are going to ensure that their kids, should they want to make a good living in a blue-collar job, won't be able to because they're going to automate it. You see it happening at McDonald's. When you start getting where you can order yourself.
Yep.
Self-checkout at Walmart.
God, I hate that, man.
Demanding to get paid above the pay that you deserve, you break the company, and the company just says, well, with AI and technology and everything else, we don't need you.
Whoever invented self-checkout needs to be in prison.
I was just about to say this.
I went to a come and go in Jonesboro, Arkansas this morning, and there were two self-checkouts in a come and go gas station.
Mm-mm. And did you get a discount on your product?
No.
I didn't think so.
Well, and they're also, a lot of companies are scaling back because the scale of theft that they're getting is what they call shrinkage is off the charts.
Another topic we can have some fun with.
Scanning every other thing. But on the bigger news.
The question of the hour, man. Israel was attacked by Iran earlier this week.
Hey, we've been saying forever, is Iran going to attack?
It finally happened, man.
What was it, a month later?
A month later, just about, yeah.
Yeah.
Iran attacks Israel on October 1. And, man, we have a group chat going, and we were sending all these videos. Everybody was sending videos of the missiles coming in, and it looked like a lot were getting through,
A ton.
And I didn't know what was happening. And I sent a message. I said, Mike, what's happening? Is the Iron Dome failing?
Right. Before he answers, the poor dude in Palestine. That'd be me. I'd be the guy.
If y'all haven't seen this, before we answer the Iron Dome, there's a video. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. If you have Twitter, you've seen it. The only person who was killed out of 181 ballistic missiles was not an Israeli, but a Palestinian man crossing the street in Palestine.
Wow.
When a rocket body, when it dropped off the rocket body, for the final stage and they just fall straight down. It literally is a video of the rocket falling and smashing him.
Wow.
Think of the irony of that.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it is.
Boy,
the odds.
That's your day.
You had a bad day.
Y'all. I'd be walking out of Walmart or something.
Shows up, and he said, if you were a Christian, you'd show up at the gates and be like, "What happened? There were no cars coming. I was just crossing the road. Why am I here?" And they're like, "Well, your buddies over there, the mullahs, threw some rockets your way, and the rocket body.
Now you're here.
Anyway, I didn't mean.
Now
to,
you're
yeah.
here.
Well, it was such a fascinating, and I saw online a lot of people were like, "How?" Because in the first barrage, Israel took down every like 99% of the incoming projectiles. And this time they weren't. And what a lot of people don't realize is the first one were cruise missiles. There were drones. Well, when a cruise missile's fired or a drone, it takes hours to get there. So you get fighter cover up, you shoot those down one at a time. Well, this time I think they sent over in the last one, I think like 100 ballistic missiles. This time they sent 181 ballistic missiles. And so a lot of people don't realize that the Iron Dome is a short-in, last-ditch interceptor to protect an area, like Hamas sending over artillery, not artillery, but mortars, these crude rockets that they send over with an explosive head on it. That the Iron Dome is money on those. You can watch videos of them getting intercepted. Well, ballistic missiles coming in literally at like Mach 7. And that's why when you see the videos of them coming in, you're like, they're glowing. Well, that's not the missile as part of its explosiveness. That's the heat off of it coming in at Mach 5, with friction of the atmosphere. And you see the videos. They were coming in.
It was
like
wild.
Your mind
it was amazing.
Couldn't comprehend how fast they're coming in. So that requires a much more complicated system. So without getting too deep, you got the Iron Dome. Here's what you're protecting. It's right here, close in. And then you'll have an intermediate layer, dome. And then you have the last ditch, which is the long range. And we actually fired 12 missiles from our destroyers.
I heard, dude. Yeah.
And which we only produce 12 a year. We just expended a year's worth of SM-6 missiles. And those are designed to intercept those ballistic missiles when they're in space.
Okay.
And how cool was it? Did y'all see the video I sent?
Yeah.
What do they say? They're called the exmospheric. I don't say that right, but it's an interception outside the atmosphere.
Same.
Because
wow,
it's in
dude.
space, it just looks like this little.
It was beautiful, actually.
It was actually like a beautiful firework with no sparks. It was like this blue color.
Boom.
Those are like the Arrow missile. Israel has those. We have the SM-3 or SM-6. And so the goal is to intercept those in space. And then you have your intermediate, which is like the Patriot missile for us.
Is that David's sling?
So that would be
be
David's sling.
Okay.
So for them, it's Arrow, David's sling, Iron Dome. And for us, we've bought a few Iron Domes from them. We don't really have good close-in air defense, but we have Patriot intermediate, which is excellent. And then we have the THAAD.
That's in that book I was talking about.
Theater area, high altitude defense, and that's the equivalent of their arrows. So we have, you should have three systems: outer space, intermediate, and so the Iron Dome actually can attempt to shoot down a few ballistic missiles as a last ditch effort. And if you watch those missiles when they're coming in, the ones that look like they're raining, just pieces that kind of looks like with Discovery, when the Discovery burn up in the atmosphere. That's an interception that took place at intermediate range. And then those ones that were red, just rocketing in, hitting and exploding, those are the ones that they get through. And part of that system that's so fascinating is it will actually do a computation because they have limited magazines, just like your gun. You fire 10 rounds, you got to reload, or 15 rounds.
Right.
Same thing with missile defense. And so they got what Iran did is they attacked one of their bases, and just if you can defeat missile defense with saturation, and that's what they did. I think they sent 36 at that F-35 base, and so the
sheer volume, just boom, boom, boom.
Just like it'd be like us trying to take on a guy with like an AR-15, with a 10-round magazine.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to get lucky.
Yeah.
Because you're going to expand your magazine just like that while he's got 30 rounds and a whole other host of advantages. But the computer system also will determine that if the incoming missile is not going to hit something critical. If it's going to go into a field, it will just write it off and let it hit.
That's amazing, really.
Trying to efficiently protect its area.
Right. So if it's going to land like in a like that South Desert part of Israel,
or even on that base, an open field,
let it go.
Let it hit. Now, the other thing that Israel had going for it is those Iranian missiles are not very accurate.
Yeah.
They have like a quarter mile, fourth of a mile hit radius. They've got some more accurate ones. I think 2 hangars were hit that they believed had refuelers in them. So they did get some damage on it. And so when you see Israel strike back probably in the next week, Iran's going to do it again. And they have a ton of missiles. And what you're also getting is a preview of the China fight. So we can have the greatest technology in the world, but you can defeat a missile defense with saturation. And China is loaded with missiles. So you got a ship out there, you expend your magazines defending the carrier, and then here comes the next volley of missiles. Now you're in trouble.
That's the philosophy of that book I just read, that nuclear book I was telling you all about, the nuclear war book. You mentioned the THAAD system. There's another, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's for the space part.
That's the ground-based interceptors like
we have in Alaska. 44.
Yeah.
We only have 44.
Yeah.
Russia alone has 1,000 and something nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not even designed to protect D.C.
Yes.
It's designed to protect over the top, coming over the polar from Russia.
And they're not very successful.
They have a low success rate. They're basically designed that if Kim Jong-un or Il from North Korea decides to send a couple missiles over, that we would have a high degree of a rogue state. We could knock it down. But if, like on a state-on-state, China, Russia, no.
Might as well not even launch one.
You have no prayer.
Yeah, it's the same philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same. Yeah.
So is it the sheer speed of the ballistic missiles that are the problem for the Iron Dome?
Yeah, because they're designed for slower rockets at lower altitudes. And then once you increase the speed, that's why everybody's on hypersonic missiles.
Yeah.
Because when you increase the speed, think about the computation power necessary to compute, to decide where to meet. Because you're hitting a bullet with a bullet.
Yeah.
And we're talking speeds Mach 5. Well, hypersonic's going to be shooting Mach 7 to Mach 9. And then your decision time, your ability for the computer to make a decision is
to
way
meet
short.
it. Yeah. Even to.
Yeah.
The book said it was like trying to shoot a bullet with a bullet.
That's exactly what it is. And so with the ballistic missiles, they're slower than the hypersonics. So we have a chance. We're pretty good. Like the Patriot can knock down ballistic missiles. And what's ballistic missile mean? Just means it's on an arc.
Mm-hmm.
Shoots up, goes into an arc.
Yep.
Goes into the lower
parts
of space, edge of the atmosphere, comes in and uses sheer speed, straight down on the target. Well, but whenever the higher altitude ones will also require more technology. They require every mile you go up just gets tougher and tougher to shoot them down. So Iron Dome is just absolute money. Like if some group comes outside of, a base and just decides to start popping mortars into it, Iron Dome's going to get them.
That's wild, man.
So in your geopolitical expertise-ness,
my Arkansas expertise,
what's next? What happens next for this Israel-Iran conflict? I think we believe that Israel's going to strike. I guess my question is, where do they strike? What do they hit? What's the game plan for Israel?
Well, nobody knows, but I've everything that I've read, and this is going to be, look, it's kind of like a hurricane or tornado, loss of life. All that's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating at the same time
because
this is the second time in Israel's history that another nation state has actually struck the territory of Israel. So you can bet Israel's going to strike back hard.
Oh, they don't play, yeah.
Well, the rumors are we're gonna hit where the 80% of their oil exports go out. So all their tankers have left, all their ships have left because they believe that island's going to get hit. And they said that if Israel does that, they're going to light the Middle East on fire. They're going to hit all the major oil production places throughout the Middle East. And basically their philosophy is if we can't have oil, y'all aren't going to have it either. Because Israel has zero oil production, 100% is brought in, is imported. So once that happens, then you have a big mess. Plus, we have like 6,000 troops in Syria, Jordan, Iraq. I already said Syria. And we've already been attacked by ballistic missiles. One of our bases was attacked by a ballistic missile when Trump took out, what's his name? The Iranian general.
Soleimani.
Soleimani.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
died like a dog. Beautiful dogs.
Died like a dog.
Beautiful dogs. Anyway.
So they're going to get hit. And so the Biden administration is basically bribing Israel with a diplomatic package that will give them extra diplomatic support. We will give them extra ammunition, extra bombs, and give them a bunch of money if they will not strike Iran's nuclear research facilities.
Okay, hold up.
Israel ain't going.
Think about that.
Let me ask you a question then. Okay?
Why?
So you're talking about striking the oil. From the dumb guy's point of view over here, I see from what, again, dumb guy, uninformed here, from what I've seen so far, Iran, the only scary thing Iran's really got is a bunch of idiots, like savage terrorists, those suicide people, those are
guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, there you go, that part. But aside from that, their military doesn't seem all that impressive. But the threat of Iran to me is nuclear weapons.
100%.
So why is that not the only target?
Well, imagine
and why
this.
would you question?
That's what is so bizarre about the administration right now, because, and I can tell you, it's purely political. They could care less about Israel and their well-being ultimately if they can not affect the presidential race. Because if the Middle East lights up, then we're going to be sending a ton of forces over there to protect our guys and to help Israel should they come under full attack. They don't want that right before the presidential election.
Yeah, I see that.
Where Israel's point of view is, now we'll get full world backing that we can go after their nuclear targets. This is our chance.
Yes.
And think about this. When you're trying to defend those 181 ballistic missiles, how are you supposed to pick out the one that's got a nuke warhead on it?
Yeah.
So you're talking about your survivability as a people. How can you, one missile comes up, okay, yeah, we got that. But you throw in 180 conventional warheads and one of them just got a nuke on it, Israel's done. It's over.
And they're only like 2 weeks away, right? From
they've been
2 to 3 weeks.
They've been saying they're 2 weeks away forever. So I think
scary as hell, though.
I think that they probably have it. I just don't know that they've been able to mount them onto a missile yet.
Guidance and all that.
Yeah, to be able to accurately deliver it without it hitting Jordan on accident.
So you think it's oil, or do you think it's nuclear, or both?
Well, I think Netanyahu hates the Biden administration. So if they're pushing him,
don't we all?
And plus, for his own survival of his people, he wants Trump in office. So that's going to defeat the political, diplomatic side of it. Don't hit the nukes. And plus, it's easy for us to say, don't hit their nukes when we got an ocean between us and we have the most powerful military in the world. But one nuke in Israel, I mean, Israel is, I don't know if people realize how tiny it is. I mean, it is so tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And also people don't realize what a one nuke would do to anywhere.
We could handle.
That's another podcast.
We could handle multiple nukes here, and this country would survive. It would be horrible. But one nuke in Israel would likely wipe off the country.
Is there 9 million people there?
Yeah, it's not very big. I don't know if
it's only like 9 million. Yeah, it'd wipe them out.
You hit Tel Aviv, their capital, it's over. So we'll find out because we'll follow up on future podcasts. I think they'll go for the nuke sites, but where Biden has a way to punch back on that is they have to have our tanker support. They have to have our support, not directly into the attack, but with intelligence and ISR, all of our monitoring and then our tankers to help refuel their fighters. They have a few of their own tankers. They might be able to do it on their own, but they're going to have our support.
Of course.
So behind the scenes, we could pull that back and say, well, you're going to have to do it on your own, and that might change the calculus. To say, well, let's just hit the oil.
Well, I mean,
It's going to be nasty, though.
And part of the reason I don't know what you guys think about this, why they may not be striking, is they're afraid of Kamala. I was trying to be serious.
Do you have the quote that she had when that reporter asked her about Netanyahu?
What did he ask her? What was the question? How did he phrase it?
He basically asked her the question of, like, Israel's kind of, the administration thinks Israel's being a little too heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And the question was posed, like, are we enabling Israel with our support? And that's why they have a heavy hand.
Yeah.
And then Kamala says,
I think the guy even said, is Israel even listening to the Biden administration?
yeah, is it even listening?
And her answer, this is a quote.
Let me set this up. This is a potential future leader that's going to be negotiating with the Ayatollah involving nukes. Okay, this is serious world implications. Go for it.
Again, the reporter wanted to know why Israel's not listening, or are they even listening to the Biden administration? Kamala Harris, quote, word for word, "The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen."
Now, can anyone out there translate that?
I'm not trying to be Republican, Democrat. I just want, what the hell did she just say?
Nothing.
And that's everything she says.
They're fighting for the sheep of the world, man. To get the votes of the sheep.
How is Trump not up by 30 points?
That's the state of our country, my friend.
I mean, she even went on a porn podcast. Y'all see that?
No.
She went on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
Oh, where they talk about disgusting stuff.
It's like that porn star girl who talks about all that. Yeah. And she gave some answer on there. The girl asked her why is it important for you to be on here? And she went into some 45-second answer there and didn't say anything.
My favorite thing is like when she was on Oprah and you're watching their faces. Like as she's talking, like, Oprah's a full-throated supporter. And you can just read her face, and her face is like, are you serious? This is what we got. This is what I'm backing.
This is it.
Yeah.
And you can see their faces are just like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah.
But man, back one final note on this, man. Y'all are going to be watching the news in the next few days. I mean, like, I'm not saying anything will happen here, but what's about to happen is unprecedented, because I think when Israel does this, I think Iran will start pointing those missiles at like the capital, Tel Aviv, and they'll just send them into a densely populated area, knowing that they're not that accurate. Because like out of those 36 that hit that base, I think 3 actually hit anything. Now take those 36 and put them in downtown Tel Aviv. Skyscrapers, everything. I think that's what will happen next. Now it will stink for the civilians. It will be awful for them, but militarily, kind of going back to what you were saying, it's not going to affect their military capabilities that much, but it's going to be terrible for the population.
Okay, at that point, if that happens, Israel say, all right, that's it. Here we come. And
they don't have the capability to invade land-wise. All they can do is hit them with their missiles, hit them with their planes. And at that point, if they were to hit Tel Aviv, I think that we would probably gear up.
I was getting ready to ask you. Is America there then?
Go hammer them. But with this administration, I have no idea. We don't even know who's running the show, bro. I mean, we don't even know who the president is. Hey, but it made for some great Twitter, didn't it, man? Seeing
great.
Missiles come in.
Those videos were awesome, man.
And all that was going on while I was reading or listening to that nuclear war book. And that had me all up. I was like, man, I can't take that. It's
crazy.
All up in my feels here, because I saw just how easy nuclear war would be. And
let's add one more piece to that. One Arrow missile to defeat a cheap piece of crap ballistic missile and those ballistic missiles, like the drones that were coming in, were little warheads. Cruise missile, slightly bigger. Ballistic missile brings in anywhere from 500 to 50. It can go up to 1,000 pounds of ordnance. That's a big bomb, and it doesn't cost much to produce. but one missile costs $30 million. We were like when we were shooting all those Houthis, those drones down and stuff. We were expending missiles that were like $12 to $15 million a shot off of a garbage little cheap drone coming in. And so that's when you start. We only produce 12 a year right now. So they know that this is a problem. They're trying to get our production up on it. But that's the other thing too, that with all the cheap technology in the world today, it costs a lot to defend, costs very little to send it. Mm-hmm. And that gets into where you start draining bank accounts real quick and the ability to produce it. So fun times ahead. That's so fascinating.
It's amazing.
It is, yeah.
Man, Eric, I think you were asked an eternal question at lunch today, man.
Boy, talk about getting something dropped in your lap. That,
I gotta get some water.
Yeah.
Anybody else need more?
There's no.
I got one right here. Our host had it all set up for us in the green room, in the hospitality room before we got on the show.
Dang, did you already drink all that I set out?
I know. Yeah, I'm thirsty, man.
So
that's okay.
We
got plenty.
I didn't get
more where that came from.
Right.
I didn't get to attend church this morning. I spent the weekend in Jonesboro with my sweet daughter at my very last Dad's Day up at Arkansas State with Abby Grace, and so I had a wonderful weekend there. But so I didn't get home today till about noon, and so I met Casey and the girls over at the Mexican restaurant for some lunch, and Casey, right off the bat says, you missed a really good service. Said Johnny asked this question, and Chris, you got the address there?
Yes.
What was the address before we start?
Matthew 16, 15, and through 17, 18-ish, somewhere around there.
Read that for me real quick before I get in there. It's all right.
Keep talking, sir.
Okay, so the question was asked that Johnny asked the congregation, who is Jesus to you? And if somebody walked up to you and asked you that, what's your answer?
Yeah, and you tried that beforehand, and you and I,
biblical scholars of the show.
Yeah. We kind of staggered and stumbled with it for a minute, and it's kind of got me thinking. Kind of need to have that answer ready to go.
It's 8.5 hours later, and I still don't know the answer.
All right, here's the scripture. It says, this is 15, and he said unto them, but who do you say I am? Simon Peter replied, you are the Christ, the Messiah, the anointed one, the Son of the living God. But let's go back to context here. That's Peter's asking, or Jesus is telling Peter, all these people say that I am this, this, and this. But just let's go back to that moment, that scene here. Like, what if you were Peter and Jesus looked at you in the eyes and said, Eric Duval,
dude,
who do you say I am?
Man.
Yeah.
You would have a word salad.
Serious.
You'd have a Kamala.
You'd have a Kamala moment.
Kamala. How do you answer that?
That's a good question. So we wanted to put that out to get guys thinking about that, right? And I think that's a great thing to kind of think about, because you might be hit with that one day. Somebody might come up to you as an atheist friend, and they ask you, and all of a sudden you possibly drop the ball in a moment. You could really grab somebody.
Yeah, it's something really to ponder on, and in your mind as humans, we talked about this a little before the show, like you automatically want to go to the non-generic answer.
Because you want to hit it, man. You want
to go somewhere that it doesn't. But I was thinking, like, Jesus was simple. The gospel is simple. People try to overcomplicate it all the time. But it can be a simple answer.
What would it be?
How can it? Okay. Let me say this the right way. How can who Jesus is and what Jesus does for you, or whoever you're talking about.
That's not the question, though. What he does for you. That's not.
How can it be simple?
Is the gospel simple?
What he is to me is not simple.
It didn't say who. It didn't say who is he to you. He said to Peter, "Who do you say I am?"
Well, are we overcomplicating the question?
Maybe.
Hey,
maybe I am.
Atheist walks up to you and just says, "Who is Jesus?" And we would stumble with that.
They didn't say who is Jesus to you or what has Jesus done in your
Who
life.
is Jesus?
I'd be like,
Answer, Chris.
Let me
Who is
call
Jesus?
Chris
You're on the spot.
Jesus is the Son of God. He came to this earth. He died on the cross. He lived a sinless, blameless life. He was tempted in all points, just as all three of us were tempted, as everyone on earth was tempted.
See, that's good.
And he was 100% man and 100% God. And he loves you beyond measure. And
Perfect. I love it.
That is very.
he died on the cross and he rose again. Without the resurrection, his life doesn't matter. The power's in the resurrection, and he's coming back. And the Bible says his will is that none should perish, but should all have everlasting life.
See,
Is that the way to say it to a?
Yeah,
To
I
that
think
atheist? Is that
so.
the way to do it right there? Here you go.
Because you and I didn't have a good answer.
I would have started the way I would have answered it. And this here you go. I mean, I'd have had that question posed to me, and I'd have been like, "Look, I was raised in a middle class family. I'm a knucklehead.
I'm a knucklehead.
I'm a knucklehead.
Sometimes I misspeak and
Sometimes
lie.
I misspeak. Yeah, dude. No, I'm being serious.
No,
That
I know.
blew, and it's still. It was 8.5 hours ago.
Well, let's go. Let's keep on reading past that, because all Peter said was, "You are the Christ. You are the Messiah. You are him. You are the chosen one." That's all he said. And Jesus said, then Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, because flesh and blood, mortal man, did not reveal this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I say to you, you are Peter, on which the rock I will build my church." So Peter didn't give some of this elaborate answer. All he said was, you're Christ. You're the Messiah. Then you are the chosen one. You're the Son of God. That's it. And Jesus said, because of that, I'll build my church on you.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Maybe I am overcomplicating it, but it still feels like a complicated answer in here.
It definitely is. And I think, and I don't think we've missed the mark in saying that we need to have this conversation. And I think everybody listening have this, like you said, have this conversation with yourself and say, hey, what would I say if someone asked me that question?
Yeah.
You know, just like
if I didn't believe in, if I was an atheist, that's the first thing I'd say. Who's this Jesus dude you talk about?
Yeah.
You guys talk about.
And then it would also be good after you say that to say, and here's what he's done in my life.
But that's a whole, yeah, that's a little easier. That part's easier to me.
Yeah. Is it?
I mean,
No, but
well, I could start describing where he's
Right.
helped me.
Right.
I mean, that part's,
Right.
you know, I can list instance after instance, but how do you
The Bible
say who he is? But I
Simple.
think you did, but
the Bible says you are to be saved, you are to believe that he is the Son of God. And that's who he says he is. And if we believe that, that's all we got to say. That's all Peter said.
so we thought it was a complicated answer, but
I think we've talked ourselves down a little bit, you know. I think that, but like you said, Eric, I don't think that it should go unnoticed. I think you should think about it. And I think you should be ready. And I think you should be ready with a testimony if someone asks you.
absolutely.
A little 30-second hot shot.
yeah,
That's what God did in my life.
Assembly of God preacher asks you when you're visiting, asks you 36 seconds before he calls you up on stage to testify.
Hey,
Looking at you, Chad.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, baby.
Keep
Let me
it simple, stupid, baby. And this, okay, so this brings me to my next point about faith having no emotions. What does that mean
That's
to you, Mike?
a lot right there.
No, I thought that was good. You mentioned it in your discussion with Chad,
Mhm.
and I thought that was really good because often when we're in our most difficult time and you're covered up in emotion, it is the moment that you don't need to have that. You just need to put your faith in God, that regardless of the outcome, be it good, be it rough, that in the end, this is all working toward a point that he designed for us.
Yeah.
But it's hard to think like that in that moment.
I think I just had this thought, and just put it in layman's term for us dudes because we're dudes. But if you were in the police force and we're all huge military followers and watch the movies, and we've heard it said a bazillion times, you fall back to the level of your training. And if you're thrown into a gunfight and you haven't shot your pistol or done any kind of training in 2 months, I'll say, or a month even, you're might be a little rusty.
Right.
And so when that battle comes, you're not going to know.
You're gonna freeze up.
You're going to freeze up. Just look at this, like what you were just saying. When the hard times come, do you know what the Bible says?
Do you have something to fall back on?
Do you have something to fall back on? Do you know what the word says about the situation? And do you have faith that the word is true? And do you believe what it says? Do you believe Jesus is who he says he is?
Well, and I think
it's going to be all right.
In my young Christian life, when I didn't read the Bible a whole lot, when I was that guy who showed up on holidays, and then something bad would happen, and suddenly I become God's best friend.
Yeah.
I had nothing to fall back on. Nothing. And so getting that daily bread does make a big difference. I think that's key. I hate that everything that we figure out in life, we don't really figure it out till we're 50. I just hate that.
Right.
But at the same
Why
time,
can't we go back?
But at the same time, I do love the mature mind and how it's able to better process and see things. And at least we're figuring it out. But that daily bread's key.
I don't think it's something that we talked about a bazillion times on here. This whole thing is a process. You're not just going to learn to look past your emotions like overnight.
No.
God gave us emotions for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, again, it's a process that you do it one time. You have a bad situation and you choose to trust what God says about the situation, what the Bible says. And you might fail at it the next time, but then the next time you might not. And again, it's a process. It's a learned process that we have to do.
That's right. Yeah.
And
even when we were recently, Gracie was in the hospital for a couple days, and I'm trying to look something up here. And let me just say, because the hospitals in Little Rock were full, we had to go to Fort Smith Mercy. So if you ever have to go to Fort Smith Mercy, it was a great hospital. And it was so great to see a hospital they had Jesus, and Gracie noticed it, that there was Jesus hanging on a cross in every single room. And then they would sound this bell every so often. It would go off, and you were supposed to stop and say a prayer for everyone in the hospital, the physicians, and everything else.
That's awesome.
I thought that was great. And then there was this flag up on the wall, kind of looked like something you'd see at school, like some kids made it or something. And it says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord."
Woo-hoo.
I saw that in a hospital. It was just so refreshing to come back to and see. I wonder why we're the most powerful nation in the world. And, of course, I find some way to take what we're talking into and go into geopolitics. But we're the most powerful country in the world. We started as an experiment, and look at us. The reason for that is because of that statement right there. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Absolutely. And that's probably why we're starting to have problems now. But aside from that, if you have to go to Mercy, Mercy's great. And I had to try to use some of those techniques because I got my anxiety shot through the roof, and it was so hard to just tell yourself to believe and have faith in the Lord. The Lord is my anchor. We're going to get through this, and not allow your human side to take over where every beep and alarm that goes off in the hospital room terrorizes you. And you're just constantly on the state of worry. And but if you can get to that point where you start to have some peace, that peace that surpasses all understanding. I felt like I got that the second day, like with friends praying for us. My preacher called, prayed for us. Several people were calling, and you could feel the prayers, and you could feel I kind of felt like the second day I kind of stabilized, where I wasn't so stressed out. But that first day, man, I was pure human and just a bundle of nerves. And it is hard to just go, well, you know what? It says it's going to work out. And you're like, what if the outcome's horrible? Well, it'll still work out. And then you just go into this cycle of tragic thinking. And but it's hard. But at the same time, what I had to tell myself was, You don't control anything. I control nothing.
Yeah.
And once I released that and said, I'm just a participant in whatever's happening anyway, you can do it without God's hand or you can do it with his hand. So why not do it with his hand? Because that's really the only way through what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
to get to a place where like you're in the middle of that situation, and to get to a place where you're just like, no matter the outcome,
I'm going to walk with Jesus.
I'm going to walk with Jesus. Whether if my daughter dies or not, whether we make it out of this hospital with her or not. That's tough, man.
That's tough. And there are people in the hospital right now.
Yeah.
I've got some friends on Facebook, friends and kids and stuff people are going through. There's people sitting in a hospital room right now going through that.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that that's something that everybody should prepare for, because, you know, you have to be ready to hand, because difficulty is going to come. It is guaranteed.
Yeah.
No matter what form it's in. I mean, today we were driving down the road in Oklahoma. My wife was driving because I hate driving. And this car came over because the car was getting on the on-ramp and both lanes were full. So this truck literally just came over, and Monica didn't have time to hit the brakes. And at 75 miles an hour, where luckily I've talked to her about this a lot, that when both tires went into the dirt, at 75, 2 tires are in the dirt. I was like, please don't jerk the wheel back to the right trying to get back on, because at 75, you're rolling, and it's going to be a bad day. Mm-hmm. And she did great. She just held it straight, held it. And Gracie woke up, started crying because, we're off the road and stuff. 2 tires stayed on the concrete. But it was another one of those deals where you're like, thank goodness that when we prayed this morning, that we prayed for everybody to be safe today, because that was a pretty scary moment. Yep. It was a pretty scary moment. And it just, you realize how quick things can happen. And it's another thing, man. Teach your wife, I'm assuming all guys know how to do this, and maybe that's sexist, but it's normal for human beings to want to jerk back onto the road. And you go to any kind of training class for driving, they're going to tell you, just hold it, keep everything under control, let off, try to slowly slow down, because human beings always want to jerk. You see it all the time, and that's why they
roll up, man.
So, anyway, she did great. I was really proud of her.
That's wild, man. Eric, you got anything else on that?
Man, I'll just add one thing here. As you mentioned about it being a process, it's this thing.
It is 100%.
You're not doing it right. You're doing it right. You're not doing it right. Yep. But you mentioned it's a shame you have to wait till you get older to realize things. Well, put those two together. I can sit here right now, and there's an absolute palpable, measurable, calculable difference. I can look back on my life and pinpoint every spot where I was doing it right and why it was working, and where I was doing it wrong.
100%.
Why it wasn't working. And every time it was working, it's because I was right there following the instruction manual. Right?
Yes.
So reading the instructions. And when it wasn't, I was relying on
Eric Duval.
all this up here and this right here.
That's
and
so brutal.
Yeah.
So tough.
That's exactly what it was. But again, it takes you, now I'm 50, still don't got it right. I'm getting better. Even here recently, just some things at work and just issues that, with me and my wife talking about things at work. I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa, stop. We're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
We're doing it wrong. Wait a minute. Whoa. We got to give this. We got to stop. We got to do this different.
And you're giving.
But the time for you to figure that out, you figured that out much quicker now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Than waiting for things to crumble. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so the process is working in your life. And
you got to build up your armor ahead of time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Luke at church today, man, he made a great point to everybody.
He not make great points?
That dude was amazing.
That dude wakes up in the morning and pours a bowl of cereal, and it's poignant.
He was talking about salvation and stuff, and he was talking about, he equated to like if you were driving a car and you passed Jesus on the road, turn around and say, man, I'm going to go back and get Jesus. He's on the side of the road. So you turn around, you go back and get him, and he's like, hey, Jesus, get in the trunk, man. Is he just going to get in the trunk?
Well,
No. About Jesus, get in the back seat, man. Come on. Or I'll take you, or Jesus, don't be in the passenger seat.
No.
Or do you get out of the car and hand Jesus the keys
See what I'm saying?
and say,
like that, dude.
Hey,
So
man.
Jesus, here's the keys in my car.
Amazing.
I'll go wherever you want me to go, do whatever you need me to do.
Amazing.
Here it is.
And that's how we should live our life.
And that's how we should live our life.
Still don't like that dude. He's too smart. Just kidding, Luke.
But I've never heard it put that way.
Great
That's
analogy.
amazing, dude.
You know, like
Yeah.
your life being the car.
Yep.
But how many times we've all done it. I've done it a bazillion times. Probably the times when you were in the valley, and me too. I had Jesus in the trunk. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I got this, Jesus.
I got this.
Sit back there. Just give me your Holy Spirit. I can do the rest.
I'll bring you out when something goes bad.
Yeah. I'll bring you out as my weapon.
It's not, but we do that, man.
We do.
And like, and it's so easy to want to not talk to God as much, not pray as much when you're on the mountain.
Oh,
When you don't need him, quote unquote. We get in this, we're humans and we think we're up high, we're good. But like you said, when you get in the valley, but keeping that same level of need for Jesus up here and down here, because he's never changes, we change.
Yeah.
And so
we're all control freaks, man. We think we're in control, and we're not. We're not even close to being in control, man.
in the grand scheme of things, like I believe Jesus uses people to fulfill his plan, but if you're not there to be used, he's going on to the next person.
You're just
he's gonna get it done no matter what. Like just like somebody put it one time, it was like, if God lays it on your heart to give somebody $100 because they need it because they're down on their luck, and you don't do it, he's gonna tell somebody to do it until they do it. Yeah, just move on to the next person. So anyway, dun 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 dun.
What else is there to talk about, boys? I don't know.
If there were such thing as football gods, if there were such thing, I believe they smiled on the Hogs this weekend.
Oh, hold up, time out. Hold on. Just in case he's listening. Ian, we love you, brother. You might turn this off. He's the only person listening that can turn it off right now. Ian's one of the Hogs by 90 squad who's a big Tennessee fan.
And he was there, and they got beat.
Messed up our stripe out.
With some orange.
Section wearing orange. So he kind of deserves it a little bit. I still love you, Ian. So,
but what a night, though. I mean,
dude,
come on. National TV.
Freaking Hogs.
Arkansas Razorbacks, Tennessee Volunteers, Tennessee's number 4 in the country, night game on the hill in Fayetteville under the lights.
How about the aerial
and the Hogs
views?
get it done, baby.
How about the aerial views of our stadium striped
Beautiful.
out?
Absolutely beautiful, dude.
Did not make you proud? And for them to get up there and fight like they fought.
That was me flying my drone, if you didn't know.
Hey, I wish you would have got
that
some
opening
pictures.
shot. That opening shot before, as they come on the air and Fowler starts talking, dude, goosebumps. And in the end, when the shot, the faraway shot of the crowd rushing the field, dude, just goosebumps.
We're Razorback fans, so we're all terrified that Kirk Herbstreit is going to show up.
Yep,
we're going to go on national TV and just get annihilated.
That's your PTSD.
Yes. And
or we're going to play really well and give it away.
But instead, we gave the country a killer game.
A killer game.
And a killer game that we were in control of, even when we were down.
Yes.
We were in control of, man. Did we all need that or what?
Yes.
I needed it bad.
I needed that. And I'm not just talking about as a Razorback fan.
College football
We all needed
fan.
that as a Razorback fan because we've definitely had our share of close losses. But I needed it as a college football fan. I mean, I've been getting pretty down on the game of college football right now because of NIL and
no loyalty to programs.
No loyalty, kid. No Drew Morgans or Grant Morgans coming up anymore. That just all they care about is that they got freaking Arkansas on that jersey and Hog on that helmet. It's all they give a crap about.
And what a weekend! This weekend is what we all love about college football. I was so happy for those Vandy fans. Carrying that
40 years, dude.
3 miles to the Cumberland River.
60 years.
Was it really?
Yes.
I thought I was on 40 somewhere.
60,
I've heard too. I've heard 40, then I've heard 60. Yeah. But they carried that thing for 3 miles to the Cumberland River.
Do it in the river,
nonetheless, it's been decades since
Dude, I was at the
Vandy's
Arkansas
beaten.
State game, and
Bama.
people were all in the stands, had their phones out, watching the end of the Bama Vanderbilt game, pulling for Vandy like crazy, dude.
Watching the evil regime get beat.
And that's
by
what
the
we
lowliest team in the SEC.
Yeah,
That's what we love about
Beautiful.
college football: the tradition, the tearing down the goalpost,
the
taking
passion.
it, all of it, man.
And I told you I was down on college football, and I still kind of am, because I don't like where it's going. But for now, I'm happy as can be. I'm going to enjoy it. So something I think I missed, though, I made the point that I think the teams that are going to win are the teams that assemble this gang of paid players that just happen to gel the best that one year. I don't think you're going to see any more programs that win national championships like 3 in a row.
Really?
That win
Not
3
even the
titles in a row.
Bamas and Georgias.
No, you'll see Bama win one, then Georgia win one, then Oregon win one, then maybe Ohio State will win one, then maybe 6-7 years later Bama will win another one. But you're not going to see a 3 out of 5 years be Bama anymore.
Well,
but what I think I missed is what I also think now is going to happen because of this gang of assembled players. There's going to be these little programs that kind of linger in the back that don't have the resources, but they build a team, and they're going to jump up and grab those gangs every once in a while.
The example is our center wasn't good enough to play for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Outside of his crummy snaps, maybe that's why he didn't play. But that's
easy.
But he's been playing.
Don't matter. Hogs won. Don't matter.
He's been playing pretty well. We got 2 Tennessee players, and so what you'll see, and that's what Vandy's got.
Yeah,
these were backups on rosters that are good enough to play at a lot of other places, and you're seeing a team like Vandy be able to be competitive. But then the flip side, teams that don't gel. Florida State has got a purchased roster, and they've got more talent on the field than anybody, and they can't
preseason ranked.
They can't do anything.
Nope.
That is not bad talent as a bad team.
Their chemistry is destroyed. Something ain't working, man.
I think the Hogs had some of that last year.
And then you get into this in the NIL world and NFL. Once you're about 5 games in, if they've lost hope in like Florida State and what you're doing, they're done. I think I saw Oklahoma State, their stud running back that we shut down, Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
They think that he probably won't play the rest of the year because their season's shot.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row.
They've lost 3 in a row, so Ollie's like, I'm out.
That started with the bowl game opt-outs, and now it's in the middle of the season.
Yep.
Kids are just like, this season's done, so I'm not going to risk hurting myself.
Well, look at the UNLV quarterback. I don't want to hit my 4th game so I can steal a red shirt because I got told that I was going to make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
And the backup came in and
dude, he looked good. Yeah,
he's pretty darn good.
I want to camp because I know I always want to tell you how much joy I have in my heart to be a Razorback fan today, dude. How long has it been since we've had a defense that just played balls out like this one did, dude? I watched it again today. They're all over the field on that last play. I know that the freshman quarterback should have put it up in the air, but even if he would have put it up in the air,
we get it down.
Was nobody to throw that ball to. They were locked down tight. How long has that been since we've been able to do that, man?
And we've done it 2 weeks in a row. We did it last week. We just couldn't finish.
In SEC play, the defense is outstanding.
We've been outstanding on the D.
The D coordinator coming up with a 3-3-5 defense.
I love it.
They hadn't seen it on
in
film.
4 days.
I watched Josh Heupel's post-game interview, and he's like, they brought out a defense that they have not shown ever, and they had trouble with it.
Dude, the D line was off.
He did say, and to give my wife some OU love, that Sam Pittman did say that OU had set the blueprint for how to stop Tennessee.
Played pretty well against them. Yeah. But dude, those dudes, Tennessee, they were averaging 54 points a game.
Number 1 offense in the country.
And number 1 defense.
They had a goose egg at halftime.
I know.
That's incredible.
It's amazing.
And we had the ball. I think at halftime they'd had like 45 yards, and we had the ball like almost the entire first quarter.
At halftime, I remember I was putting this out to Kerry. We had like 19 minutes of possession to their 7.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
And when you watch ball games, sometimes you think, the favored team or the better teams they're off. They're not playing. I don't.
Or turnovers.
Maybe
give the game to you.
Yeah, maybe it's the homer in me, but I really don't think so. After watching it again, I think we did that to them.
Hey, I watched a Tennessee guy say that we got. I did a little podcast thing, and they're like, we got whipped. He goes, their D-line, Arkansas's D-line, bullied our offensive line. And I was like, how long has it been since I've heard that?
And our linebackers.
Sweet victory, baby.
Dude, God.
They'll hit you. They'll fly to the football. Dude,
Hey, and how about it? We talked about it earlier, the sure tackling.
Yeah.
You didn't see them falling off and just continuing to run. They would get hit and suck them down to the ground, man.
And how about this? Let's just talk about the secondary, man. Like, this has big, fast, wide receivers, man. Shut them down.
A couple plays where they'd come in and knock the ball down. You know,
well, they're at the end.
Yeah,
slaughter.
Knock the ball down. Just reach in, tapped it down,
just knock it away. There are years we've been through it as Hog fans where we wouldn't even be within. They'd be wide open in the middle of the field. The middle of the field has always been wide open.
Singletary be 5 yards back
against Arkansas's defense.
Yep.
Dude, and now they're diving in front of balls, knocking them down. And if they do, the receiver does catch it, no yards after catch. For the most part, they're getting tackled. Cannot say it enough. If we can fix a few things on offense, super talented Taylor Green, for instance, just a few reads, a few little missed throws, a few little blocking things we got to clean up. Dude, this team we can make some freaking noise, man.
Good. I mean, Taylor been averaging 48% accuracy. He came in with 70%, which includes the 2 balls he threw, at their ankles that were easy touchdowns. Even with that, he still had over 200 yards passing and
I hope
70%.
the kid's okay. I think he will be. There was a video last night for all you Hog fans out there. I know Tracy said I need a Green update ASAP, but in that madness on the field of the field rushing, I saw Taylor Green. There's a video of him carrying a girl on his back, piggybacking her around the stadium.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling nothing.
I think he's okay.
Plus, we got 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine
till the next game.
Yeah.
My wife showed me a video earlier from social media of a Tennessee player pushing down one of our cheerleaders and fell into the other cheerleader. Did you see that?
I did.
He came out and publicly apologized.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just reacted in the moment.
Yeah, he was reacting in the moment. I'm sure that guy probably said something.
He got bumped into, and then he just turned around and shoved. And
he let the emotions take over.
Let the emotions take over.
The emotions take over. That's right. If all you folks out there and you guys haven't seen Trey Biddy's walk and talk,
it was hideous. I couldn't even watch it.
But it was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch.
I realized about 30 seconds in, you weren't going to get anything out of it except pure joy of just watching him and watching the people who recognized it was him.
Yes, coming in and getting on this camera.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
When we get done here, my favorite thing to do on Sunday nights is watch Pate State. Josh Pate.
Yeah, Josh Pate, yeah.
And I already saw it. He's got a deal on the upset weekend. I can't wait to hear him.
That's going to be good.
That dude's pretty level-headed. I like him.
I love that guy, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, thanks everybody for listening. Some things to ponder. Who is Jesus to you? And we all need to work on our faith over our emotions. Get in the Bible, read the Word. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for Mike and Eric. I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for everyone listening. I pray you give us the strength, Father, to overcome our emotions, Father, to overcome that with faith, put our faith in your word and in you. Give us faith, Father, in this time. The world has gone crazy. We don't know what's going to happen next, Father, but we will trust in you no matter what. We love you and we praise you in Jesus' name.
We're going to add to it. Throw in a prayer for Israel and their protection.
That's right. Amen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. We pray for the peace in Israel. I pray for your hand of protection on your chosen people. They will mess up and they will get the hand of God. I pray for everyone involved in that war, Father, just peace and protection. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to the Life After Sunday podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a like and a comment, and go follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And as always, keep fighting the good fight.